All right. Hey, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you guys had an awesome Christmas. I'm so glad you're here a couple days after Christmas and recovering from the holidays like me, probably, but hopefully you had a really nice time. So, what we're going to do tonight is the new year is rapidly approaching, right? And with that, we love to take some time to just reflect on the past year and also spend some time um, thinking about the new year, thinking about goals, thinking about our word of the year, calendar audit, all that good stuff. So Shannon is going to be sharing a little bit at the end about calendar audit and just why that's so important, kind of some tips to doing that. That's something that I love doing towards the end of the year. But I'm going to be working with you on choosing your word of the year. Now, if you chose a word of the year for 2021 and you remember it, pop it in the comments. Or if you chose one and you don't remember it, that's okay too. But if you guys have your word of the year that you remember, okay, awesome. I see them popping up. Discipline, organized, routines. Mine was clarity. So those of you that have done this before, you kind of know that the idea is that it's just a single word that kind of encompasses your goals, your vision for how you want to be, who you want to be, what you want to accomplish in the coming year, right? So the reason that we choose just a single word instead of like a huge long list of goals is that it's just like a focal point. It gives you something that you can easily write down or set as the lock screen on your phone or hang on your mirror or something and keep coming back to that kind of encompasses everything that you want to focus on for that coming year. So it's practical. It's a single word, so it's easy to remember. It's not like a huge big thing that you have to memorize. So that's kind of why we do the single word of the year. And what I'd love to do with you tonight is just kind of work through choosing a word for the year, or at least starting to think about it. It may take you a couple of days to decide what you want to pick. I did send in our 2021 chat just like a list of ideas. Sometimes just reading through words that other people have used can be inspirational to you. But I just want you to kind of reflect, and then we're going to spend a few minutes just thinking about what your goals and everything are for 2022. Can't believe how soon it is. So, first step, and if you guys have pen and paper, I'm doing this along with you. So there may be like a couple moments of silence here and there where we're just going to be jotting things down. We're just going to like let the ideas flow. When you're doing these kind of things, you don't want to be too like critical of yourself. Like if you have a word or a thought that you want to put down, just put it down, right? It's fine. Like you can go back, you can edit these things, you can scratch things off, but just kind of let it flow. So the first step is to reflect. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions and just jot down answers as they come to mind. So thinking about 2021, reflecting on this past year, what could I use more of in my life? What could I use more of in my life? And just jot down any thoughts that come to mind. Next reflection question is, what could I use less of? What could I use less of in my life? What characteristics would I like to have in the coming year? And then how do I want to feel? On a typical day in 2022, what kind of feelings are you hoping will be present in your life? Okay, so I'll go through those reflection questions again, just in case you want to jot them down to circle back to. But reflecting on the past year, what could I use more of in my life? And this is really going to tie in with the calendar audit thing too. But just, think about your day-to-day, your week-to-week. What could you use more of in the coming year? What could you use less of? What characteristics would you like to have? And how do you want to feel? And this kind of helps you see the direction you want to go in the coming year and maybe some changes that you need to make, right? Those things always pop up for me, like, okay, I'm really lacking in this area, like patience. The word patience came up a few times as I'm writing. And so, those are the things you might want to confront. I just started reading Winning the War on Your Mind. I actually have it right here by Craig Groeschel. This is really good so far. And he says, what you do not confront, you cannot change. Okay. So if it's like, man, that's something I'm struggling with, I don't really want to confront it. If it's something that keeps coming up, if you want to change it, you're going to have to confront it, right? You're going to have to look at it in the face and deal with it. Okay, so that was our reflection questions. Again, you can come back, flesh it out more. But the second step is visualizing, thinking about 2022. And we're going to get a little more like thinking about our goals and kind of like actions you want to see happen or things you want to see accomplished. So the first question is, what do I want to accomplish this coming year? So take a moment and jot down things that come to mind. What would you like to accomplish? And obviously it can absolutely be related to your business, but include other goals as well if they come to mind. Jot down a few things you want to accomplish. Okay, next question. Thinking about 2022, how do you want to be? Or in other words, what words can describe you? What words would you want people to use to describe you? And one way that I thought about this was in Nashville when we did the whole visualization thing with Megan. She said, imagine your Diamond documentary. Like, what are the people saying about you? That was very like eye-opening to me. Like, how would people talk about you? If you were really living out the way you wanted to be. So in the coming year, how do you want to be, or what words will describe you? And how will developing into that person that you want to be, how will that feel? So those goals that you want to accomplish, for me, I put down hitting Sapphire, helping 2 people become jewels on the team, like those specific goals. Those are the things you want to accomplish, but the words that describe you is kind of the who you're becoming along the way, right? Like we always say that phrase, enjoy the journey. The rank ups, the business markers that show the growth are awesome and important, like earning leaders retreat, like Nicole just earned it, Stephanie just earned it. So awesome and something to celebrate, but also like the person you become along the way while you're working towards those goals. It takes a lot of growth. It takes a lot of struggle. There's a lot there. And that person you're becoming is actually more important than hitting the goal. So that's why it's important to reflect and kind of visualize and think about that too. Not just, oh, I'm going to hit the thing, but how am I going to feel along the way? How am I going to change? Who am I going to be? If you can set a time frame to those goals you wrote down, do that. Okay, so take a minute, look back at that question. What do I want to accomplish? And if it makes sense to add a time frame to it, go ahead and write that down next to it. And the reason we do that, and Victoria wanted to talk about this tonight, but she couldn't be on because she's away and they're doing family stuff and it just didn't work out. But you know, all the time we are like, you know, adjust the time frame if you need to, and that's true, right? We set goals, we adjust the time frame, but you also want to create a sense of urgency for yourself by trying to hit those time frames, because we can push it back, push it back, push it back. But if we're not being, I don't know, not realistic, but if we're not actually looking at that time frame and setting it as a real goal, it can be easy to just keep pushing it back, pushing it back. So with your goals for 2022, when you set a time frame to it, really work to honor that time frame. Like if you want to be a certain rank by convention, look at each month and see what you need to do to make it happen by convention. Just, you don't want to say, oh, well, if it doesn't happen, I'll push it back to December. You want to create that urgency for yourself and actually hitting those goals in your time frame. Okay, so that is the second piece of visualizing. Now we're going to create a list. So what word do you want to focus on for 2022? You can kind of look at this thing you've written down, your reflection, your visualization, see if any words keep popping out. Okay, you may have some repetitive words or themes. I want you to take a look at those. We're going to take a few minutes and just start jotting down single words that come to mind that you think may be good for you to focus on in 2022. Don't worry about just having one word. I want you to look at that list, look at your answers, think about your goals, and write down all the words, just kind of let them flow, that come to mind that may be a good fit for you. So I'm going to give us like 2 or 3 minutes and just jot down all those words that come to mind. Okay, Fern said commitment is the word that has been popping in my head all day. Fern, that is one of my top words right now too, commitment or committed. And yeah, it can apply to more than one area in your life, and it should, right? Like as I'm thinking about choosing my word for the year, I'm thinking a lot about how I want to be with my family, with having a new baby in the house. How do I want to be? I don't want to be frazzled and chaotic and stressed, you know, like I want to be calm. I want to be patient. I want to keep my priorities straight. Okay, Shannon said focus has been popping in her head all day. I love that. Anyone else want to unmute and share either a word that keeps coming up or kind of thoughts around this process so far? Kim said mine is serve. Love
I can
that.
share a little bit more about, I don't know, focus has just been popping in my head all day. And as I'm like reading all the stuff that I just wrote down, a lot of it has to do with like, I just feel like I'm like doing candles, doing plexus, going all do ultrasounds. Like I'm just like all over the place, and I'm just all over the place with everything in my life. Like I'm not a good planner. Like and it's because I don't focus on like one thing at a time. And I think that that would help me be more accomplished and feel better too, and not feel like I'm like trying to always multitask all day long.
Right.
Like it works sometimes, but then at the end of the day, I'm like, what am I doing? My brain's gonna explode. So
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. Focus. That's so good. Other ones in the chat: action, priority, commit, connections, valuable, impact, belief. Those are all awesome. And the cool thing is, like, there's no right or wrong. So don't judge your list or like try to make it like someone else's. If something's really resonating with you, that's great. Like, Suzanne in our chat said, I think I have 2 words. Okay. Like, it's whatever you want it to be. It's whatever's going to like speak to you through the next year.
I was just gonna say that too. I know last year a couple people were like, these two words kept popping out, and that's okay. Like having like organized and focused, or like having like a little saying, like that's okay too. It's for you. It's what it's gonna work for you.
Exactly. And sharing like what's going through your mind, it helps someone else get creative also. So don't be shy about sharing what you're thinking or through the process, but you should have a list of words. So now we're going to review and refine. So I want you to look at your words and circle 3 that stand out, that are like, man, these are really resonating with me. Maybe I'm not sure why, but they're really jumping out at me. If you have a couple that are doing that, try to circle up to 3 words. Okay, so you've got maybe 3 words, maybe a couple, but take a look at them. And here's the question to ask: am I interested or am I committed? So as you look at each word, right? Let's say, the word patient keeps coming up for me. So let's say I look at the word patient. Am I interested in being more patient or am I committed to being more patient? There's a huge, huge difference, right? So if you're interested in something but not committed to it, your buy-in will be very low. Your willingness to make big changes in that area will be very low. It's probably not going to stick. You're probably not going to do a lot of work on it, and you probably will forget what it is, into the next month. Okay, so look at each word. Are you interested or are you committed? If you're committed, then you'll do whatever it takes to bring that word to life, right? To like make that thing happen in your life. Okay, so take a look again and just ask yourself, am I interested or am I committed? And maybe there's a word that you can narrow it down to that is like, all right, I am definitely committed to doing that, to being that. All right, so if anyone has narrowed it down, Nicole, go ahead.
And I have 2 words that keep coming up
Okay.
as well. And it's because of home life and business. So
Yeah.
I like that you said you can have 2, because that's what I was struggling with. I'm like, I'm attracted to these 2 words for completely different reasons, but these are the 2 that I need to focus on the most. You know what I mean?
And what were
And
they?
one is patience.
Patience.
One is patience. The other is impact. I just need more patience with my children. And I do want to make an impact. So business wise. So, yeah.
But Nicole, what's cool is that they also flip over, right? Like, you're going to need patience in your business in order to make an impact, and being patient with your children is going to have an impact on them. You know what I mean?
True.
So like they're separate, but it all actually like works together. If you're working on both those things, you can just like crisscross them from personal to business. Actually, that's pretty awesome.
All right. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. Anyone else? Did you narrow it down? And don't feel stressed if you like, I need more time. It's totally okay. Yes, Mom, go ahead.
I did. And what's funny is one of them is impact, which is funny that Nicole said that, but serve just keeps coming up over and over again. So serving with an impact or impacting because of serving, I'm not sure, but serve and impact are definitely what keeps coming up.
Awesome. Love that. Anyone else want to share what's coming up? Yeah, Fern, go ahead. You can unmute if you want to share something.
Yep. Can you hear me?
There you are. Yep.
Well, I keep sticking with the word commitment because it's been on my mind all day. But I found it interesting that with the exercise we were doing, I circled 3 words and I feel like they all tie to my word. So I wrote down focus, I wrote down positive, and I wrote down self-confidence. And I feel that these things connect to a commitment, but they also will build my self-confidence, which will help me be more assertive and be more outgoing, and just it'll become easier for me to share, because I always get that, I have a hard time because I always second guess it, and then I hesitate and hesitate and hesitate, and then I won't do it. But like today, like it took me all day, but I got my 10 people I messaged, and I felt very good
Yeah.
about that. I stuck with it, and I kept going
Mhm.
through and looking at the person's name. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to do it. And I did. And then one person did get back to me. So, and it was a positive response. So I just feel like I need to stick with commitment, and it applies to so
Mhm.
many different areas that all tie together to help me
Yes.
goals and reach those goals.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And you can have a main word and some sub words, or maybe you take your main word and you write down some, positive things that you're going to remind yourself every day. Like some people write out affirmations, however you want to do that in a way that's going to encourage you and help keep you focused. But I love that there's multiple things that come up and then they point back to like, okay, here's the thing I really need to focus on. That's so great. I love it. So let me just recap that process for you guys in case some of you need more time, because it can take like 2 or 3 days of just kind of mulling over it, like seeing what sticks. So the first thing you want to do is reflect, right? What do you want more of in your life for this coming year, less of? What characteristics do you want to have? The second step is to visualize. Thinking about 2022, what do you want to accomplish? Can you put a time frame on those goals? But more importantly, how do you want to be? Who do you want to become along that journey to reaching those things you want to accomplish? The third step is to create your list. Or maybe, and then ask yourself, am I interested, or am I committed? And
froze.
don't pick, well,
You froze up.
am I back?
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said.
Where did I cut out?
The third step.
Okay, sorry about that. So the third step was create your list. So just let all the words flow, write down all the words that come to mind that you think you might want to focus on this year. Fourth step is to review and refine. So go back, just pick 3, circle them, right? The ones that stand out. And then the final step is to look at each one and ask yourself, am I interested or am I committed? And make sure that the word you pick is something you're actually committed to making changes to this coming year. Okay. So don't stress if you weren't able to do that whole process right now. Just come back to it, spend some time. Today is what, the 27th? So you have a couple days before the new year. This is the time to be reflecting, to be thinking about your goals, and to also be looking back over the past year and doing your calendar audit, which Shannon is going to share a little bit about. So Shannon, go ahead, girl.
All right, so I will be quick with this. I know we have a couple more minutes, but so at the end of the year, the last week, which is what we're in right now, it's a good idea to go back and look at your calendar, your planner, whatever you've used to like write down activities that you've done, and not even just Plexus, like life stuff, like what you want more of. So go through and like look at the things that you did that brought you joy, that, filled your cup up, write all those things down, like literally have a section, like what I want more of, what I want less of, like go through, things that you were like, why did I do this? Why did I didn't have the time to do this, or this wasn't enjoyable to me, write all those things down. Like how you spent your time, who you spent your time with, like if there's people that you gave too much of your time to that were maybe like energy suckers or people that you love and that you didn't spend enough time with, who are those people, and and you have to be intentional with it, and you have to like plan out your 2022 and make sure those people that you want to be with are in your calendar, or you're planning things with them. Because as you know, like I've been telling people this, like Christmas comes, like, and Victoria said it, Christmas comes the same time every year, and for whatever reason it just like I'm shopping 2 days before. Like that is just ridiculous. So just like going through and making sure that you're setting your year up with things that fill your cup rather than drain it. And tie it into your word of the year too. Like tie that in with your activities. So yeah, that's basically it. And I know John Maxwell and Rachel Hollis both have mentioned this in podcasts and books and whatever. So it's just a good thing to do to set your year up for success and filling your cup up.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I always love that they say to pay attention to is the white spaces on your calendar, right? Like sometimes the problem with the calendar is we just jam way too much on it. And those white spaces or those blank days are generally where we're the most productive. We have the most joy, so you want to make sure as you look back on your calendar audit, like, did you have enough white space or downtime or not crazy booked time? If not, keep that in mind as you're setting up your calendar for the next year, as you're saying yes to things, as you're planning, make sure you have those white spaces in there as well, because that's super important to just be able to rest, be able to rejuvenate. And make that, these are the things that brought me life list. These are the things that were death to me list. How can I get rid of some of these things? How can I spend more time on these life-giving things? So calendar audit, super good tool to do between Christmas and New Year's, when you hopefully have a little downtime to just kind of reflect. I know we're out of time. Thank you, Shannon, so much for sharing that. Couple quick reminders is that we have a Steal the Deal coming up on Wednesday night. So we're doing it on the 29th. So after subscriptions run, if you have people on your team who are at 0 PV or under 50 PV and are maybe interested in the intermittent fasting challenge, there's going to be a quick Steal the Deal from I think 8 to 8:30. Yeah, pretty sure 8 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern, with just like 5 deals popping up, all ones that fit with the intermittent fasting challenge. So the goal is to get people in there, help them snag a great deal, and boom, jump right into the intermittent fasting group. So that is Wednesday night. And we also have our message blitz going on from today to the 31st. So if you missed that or you didn't plug into that, there's still plenty of time. Check our 2021 chat or our Made to Thrive Business Builder page. We've got verbiage to help. And like, this is going to be a super, super exciting time. So many of you are close to hitting Leaders Retreat or have big goals for the end of the month. Do not throw in the towel just because it's near the end of the month. There is still 4 days and a lot can happen. So you guys know I am here for you and excited to do all the things with you. Really grateful for all of you that have helped with scheduling posts and things for the intermittent fasting challenge. That is going to be amazing. And it starts the 3rd. So that's like our big hype. We're trying to get as many people as possible in there. Okay, so I will see you guys next Monday. Hope you have a happy New Year's Eve and all the things. And when you do have your word of the year, pop it in our chat so that we can all just like reflect with each other and maybe get some ideas from each other too. All right, guys, have a great night.